unlike any that we've had. And we are so hopeful that next year, when your children are freshmen, that we will be back to normal, back to the great West High that we are. And I just want to share a couple of things about our school for you to learn about during this webinar. And as we get into more of the actual substance of this webinar, please feel free to use the question and answer box on this webinar. We will be answering your questions in live time to the best of our ability. But your child is going to be entering by what many would say is the #1 high school in Iowa. Just yesterday, I announced that we set the record with 29 National Merit finalists. That's 29 National Merit finalists. That's more than most schools, school districts had. And yet we had that just here at West High. And that's a testament to the great staff and faculty that we have, as well as our great families. We excel from an extracurricular standpoint, from fine arts to athletics and everything in between. So we are really, really proud of the fact that we are truly Iowa's #1 best comprehensive high school. And with that, I'm going to turn things over to one of the guidance counselors that you'll be hearing from tonight, Mr. Greg Yoder.
Perfect. Thank you, Mitch. Appreciate your hopping on here with us this evening. My name is Greg Yoder. I am guidance counselor, one of the guidance counselors at West. I put behind my name, I actually counsel students who have the last names K through Q. So I think some of the other counselors have done that, and I think you can probably figure out the rest as there are 4 of us. So just go ahead and get things started this evening. We know everybody's time is valuable, so we want to make sure that we are taking everything into account. So as I had mentioned, my name is Greg Yoder. I'm a counselor for students with last names K through Q. Maybe I'll have Mr. Breitbach introduce himself.
Paul Breitbach. I have students with last names A through D.
I'm Kelly Bergman. I have students with last names E through J.
And I'm Kay DeLeo, and I have students with last names R through Z.
Okay. So on this slide, obviously, our goal is that we kind of maintain the same students all 4 years while they're in high school. We just kind of feel like breaking it up by alphabet kind of just helps with just some familiar faces. We don't see all of our students all the time, but it is nice to be able to see one student from one year to the next or one trimester to the next as different things come up. Just kind of promotes that getting to know somebody and having a familiar face to go to. Next piece, what do we help with? A lot of different things. Obviously, the thing we're talking about today is course registration and planning for future. We also have deal with all kinds of scheduling issues. So if for whatever reason, wanting to pick up another class or some class is not working, we do the scheduling aspect of things. We can help students as it's time for them to look at different schools and colleges, and also getting ready for applications as the time comes up. That's typically something that happens a lot senior year. The research piece happens sophomore, junior year more so. Different scholarships that come up. This is prime season for students who are interested in scholarships, probably from now until about the first week in April. There's a lot of local scholarships that are available to students for seniors specifically, that a lot of our seniors can have access to. And then obviously on any given day, we have other things that are not necessarily academically related, but they spill over into the academics. And those are the things that our main job is we're to be there for students. And so if there's something that's affecting how a student can perform academically and as a person in school and outside of school, we're there to try and help get them hooked up with either somebody else that maybe can help them a little bit more, or just kind of help them problem solve and get back into the right frame of mind to be able to do the things that they want to do. And then if there are different academic concerns, if a student signs up for a class that maybe is too easy or a class that's too difficult, we can help students be able to navigate those waters and get what they need so that they can be successful more than anything. So And then the difference, what is different in high school? Says here on this slide, grades do matter. Things are a little bit different here than they are in junior high. Every trimester, it's really vitally important that students are passing their core courses, especially. If they don't pass a trimester of a course, then they will have to retake it. We try not to dwell on that too much, but it is a major difference between previous levels of schooling and the high school level. Credits are kind of the name of the game. Credits are required in certain areas to meet graduation and college admissions requirements. If students are curious about what those are, or they lost track of something, they can always stop in and visit with us. We'd love to have those conversations if they're curious about anything. We say all the time, the only bad question is the one that doesn't get asked. And so we are there to help students, and if it's email or just popping in person, we'd love to see kids and help them out with that stuff. The final, and then the next thing there, the final trimester grade in each course counts toward overall GPA. The cumulative GPA is what colleges will look at when deciding whether or not students are admitted. So those are just some important pieces that get finalized. And just met with a student last week who was curious about, and I brought up the freshman transcript, because so far there's only one grading period that's posted on it. And we just kind of walked through, and they're like, now, is this something that we can fix? And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, you can make things better, but at the same time, this is what the colleges will be seeing. So it is vitally important that students take things seriously as they walk in the doors, because those are the things that will go with them as they head off to college. Also, something a little bit different from junior high is that we do have 7 periods in our academic day as opposed to 8. Turn things over to Mr. Breitbach.
We're going to go through our graduation requirements. As you can see there, students need 4 years of English or 60 credits, 3 years of social studies, 3 years of math, 3 years of science, 4 years of PE. And PE, they just take that every day for 1 trimester each year, a trimester of health, a trimester of personal finance, and then electives, which gives them 310 credits. And the majority of our students will graduate with many more credits. And because the majority of our students go on to college, they'll take 4 years of the core subjects to better prepare them for college. So just some common terminology when it comes to types of classes. Honors classes, they move at a faster pace, cover more material, more rigorous, more requirements, and they prepare you for AP coursework. And their students have an opportunity to take advanced placement classes, which is a college level coursework. It's on a weighted scale, so it goes weighted towards their GPA. So an A in a AP class counts as 5 points as opposed to 4 points in a regular class. It's a year-long class with a large AP exam at the end of the year. And depending on what the score is on their AP exam, they can earn college credit, and that varies from college to college. Each college has their own kind of philosophy with how they treat advanced placement classes. So now just some registration basics. And we always tell students, we want them to do 2 things when they put their schedule together: challenge themselves, but also have kind of a balance depending on what they want to do. And sometimes what they want to take and what their best friend want to take isn't always the right thing. So they really have to do what's best for them to help them be successful, as well as challenge themselves. So step 1, review the course registration options online. And then step 2, talk with current teachers. I know they did some of that today. We'll do that again tomorrow. And family about classes that are best for you. Again, we want them to set up a schedule for them to be successful. Refer the program of studies. There's more information about each course. Step 3, if you have questions, please reach out to us at the high school. And then we want them to complete their registration on their PowerSchool account. And that's the key. The registration is not complete until you've entered and submitted your course requests in PowerSchool. So again, pretty simple steps, but we want them to take their time in the next couple of weeks to put together a schedule that's going to help them be successful as well as challenge themselves.
Mr. Breitbach, I'm going to jump in real quick because one of the things I just want to make sure that our Northwest and junior high parents realize is, as Mr. Breitbach said, we only have 7 periods at West, but we also do not have A and B days. So for those of you coming from the junior high level, you're used to having some courses on A and some courses on B. And we do that on purpose at the junior high level so that you can take and experiment with as many classes as you want to. But you're going to find one of the great things about West, there's going to be more classes that your kid's going to want to take than spots available. So that's where it gets really important on the planning piece to making sure that you can fit everything in.
So I'm going to hop in here now, and we're going to kind of get to the nuts and bolts of the actual registration process. And the first part of that is viewing the registration form. And we realize on this screen, the font is very small, so you're not actually seeing the registration form here, but it is linked. I think the information was sent to you via an email. So you should be able to view this online, via your email and print it out, hopefully, so you can get a good look at the registration form and work off of this. It also is on our website. So if you go to the West High website under guidance, there's a section for registration and course selection. And then you would just click on 9th grade registration information, and you're going to find all of the information that you need to know about this whole process. And one of those is the registration form. So you can find that as well. When you go to the website, everything is linked. So if you see some words that are underlined, if you'll just click on those words, that it'll take you right to the link for the information you're looking for. So let's talk a little bit about the registration form. When you view it in person, you will see there are 3 columns. In the first column, you can see we have shaded boxes. These boxes are required courses. So your student should have a check mark for a class in every one of these boxes. So you'll see your math, your English, your science, social studies. We will get, in a few more slides, I will get to talking specifically about some specific courses and some options they may have. But just know that first column, they should have a check mark in each one of those boxes. Then when you look at column 2, the middle column, these are elective courses. These are your world language, your music, and some other year-long electives that we have in other departments. So if your student chooses one of the year-long electives, they will take that all 3 trimesters. And then the third column are our trimester electives. So these courses are like art, business, family consumer science, industrial tech. These courses only meet for 1 trimester. So your student could choose up to 3 of these elective courses to make a year-long course. Okay, and we're going to see. And then if you turn over, when you have the registration form, if you turn over the registration form on the back of the sheet, we've put together this worksheet. And I really advise all of you to take advantage of this worksheet, especially being new, and especially since we can't be in person to help you. This kind of lays out our day. There's 7 periods, as we've talked about. And so when you mark something on the front, if you'll just turn it over and plug it into one of these slots, you'll see how it will all lay out. So you'll see where your English class goes, where your math class goes. So once you get your core courses in, you will then see how many more slots you have for other elective courses. So when you get to world language, for example, you would put that under the elective, but since it's a year long, you need to put it in all 3 slots, the first, second, and third trimester. And then that last slot, let's say you want to take an art class, a business class, and a family consumer science, then you could do that for the last slot. You'll see that we have study hall. You do not have to fill up the whole sheet. If your student likes to have a study hall during the day, you might just choose your 4 core courses, PE and health, and then maybe another elective there. And let's say they have a world language, and then that last slot, they would just like to have a study hall every trimester. You can write study hall in there, so you know that's when you'll have a study hall. But when you actually register online, you do not have to worry about registering for study halls. We will just place your student in a study hall in the periods that they're not scheduled for a class. Now we're going to talk briefly about just hopefully this will answer some common questions that we get about specific courses. I know many of you like the honors level courses, and starting more so your sophomore year are going to be more opportunities for honors level courses. And honors starting with the second trimester. So everyone will register for English 9. And then after the first trimester, the English 9 teachers will recommend your student for the honors level course. So the English 9 honors can be taken the second and third trimester, but the first trimester, every ninth grade student will just take English 9. I should have mentioned on that registration form as well, all of the courses that are offered to ninth graders are on that registration form. So then when we move to social studies, your student has a couple of options. They can take an AP Human Geography course or an American Studies course. Obviously, American Studies is American history and will count towards their American history requirement. The AP Human Geography course would count towards their world history requirement. Again, you're looking at American Studies, which is a regular curriculum, versus an AP course, which Mr. Breitbach mentioned is a college level course. However, it should be noted the AP Human Geography course is geared towards the ninth grade level. So it is a challenging course, but one that many of our ninth graders are very successful in. So if you have a student that does pretty well in the social studies area or is very interested in the social studies area, you may want to consider the AP Human Geography course. Knowing that if they do that, they will still have their American history requirement left. And so in the next 3 years, they would take either American Studies or we do offer an AP US History. Vice versa, if they take American Studies, they could take AP Human Geography for World History their sophomore year or junior or senior year. And we also have some World History class and an AP World History class that they could take later. Performance PE and sports. When you get to the PE section, you will see a few selections, okay? And again, as we mentioned, they are only required to take one trimester of PE. You will see a lifestyle fitness, that's more of an individualized PE, like you'll do yoga, aerobics, just different individual kind of things. Then you will see a team sports, I believe it's called. And that's like your typical PE class where they might play volleyball, do some other, team sports during that class. The performance PE is a weightlifting and cardio workout. Many of our coaches for our sports, they encourage their athletes to take the performance PE. Your student would sign up for performance PE 1 because that is the PE course where they actually learn the lifts. They want them to be safe and know how to lift weights, so they will teach them the lifts. So they would sign up for performance PE 1. They should do it in the trimester that they are not participating in the sport, or probably prior to the sport this season. So for instance, if you have a basketball player, the coach would want you to take performance PE 1 in the fall, and then you would have your basketball season in the winter. Realizing that we have multi-sport athletes and you may have one of those that has a sport every trimester, then if you would like them to participate in performance PE, then choose the trimester that you feel maybe wouldn't be as taxing on them. And you can talk to your counselor about that as well. We can give you some advice on that. You do not have to be an athlete to take performance PE. If you like to work out and you want to lift weights, we would love for you to sign up for performance PE. After they take one trimester of performance PE 1, then they will continue, they will take performance PE 2 in future years. If you have a student that loves to work out every trimester, they can use that for their elective. You can take you can take more than one trimester of PE if you would like, but you are only required to take one trimester. Early bird health and the PE academic waiver. Let's talk about the PE academic waiver first. If your student fills up their schedule, they have all of their 7 periods with classes. So they don't have any room to put PE in. If this is the case, they can sign up for a PE academic waiver. So a PE academic waiver means a full course schedule for all 3 trimesters. They can have no study halls. You cannot have a study hall and sign up for a PE academic waiver. So if you're just, if you have to remember it anyway, it's basically you can't fit PE into your schedule, okay, because you have everything filled up. If that's the case as a freshman, and you weren't also able to get health in, we do offer an early bird health class 1 trimester. That typically is the third trimester in the spring. That class would start before the school day, or would be held before the school day. It would start around 8 o'clock. So if your student has a full schedule and has not fit health into that schedule, maybe they have 7 full year long classes, then they would qualify for early bird health, which would start at 8 o'clock in the morning. You cannot take early bird health unless you have a full schedule. We also get asked the question about orchestra and band, because we know in junior high you're able to do both. And so you are able to continue to do both at the freshman level. So if you are one of those students that you perform in both the orchestra and band and want to continue that for 1 more year, then that will work for you. And the reason it works is it meets the same period. So one day you would go to orchestra, the next day you go to band. So again, just let your counselor know there's no way to sign up for that. So you would just need to sign up for one of them and let your counselor know that you would also like to do the other. So you would sign up for orchestra and then let your counselor know that you would also like to do band. After the freshman year, this becomes difficult because the different orchestras and bands meet different periods. So we have had a few students that are in the top orchestra and top band do this, but it lots of times does not work out. And then just to mention that we do have a new option. There is an online school next year, the ICCSD online school, and we do have some information on our website about this. I'm not going to go into great detail about this. Just wanted to let you know this is not COVID related. So this is a total different school. So, some students that did online this year, they really liked it and they would like to continue to be an online student. So our district is providing an online school for those students. You can go online 100%, or you can do half your day online, morning or afternoon. And you should, if you are interested in the online program, you should mark this on your registration for West High. Does anybody else want to add anything about the online? Kelly, do you want to say anything? No?
Yeah, if COVID is still a concern, my hunch is they would allow students to still sign up for the online program at some point over the summer if it becomes obvious that it's going to continue to be a concern. I think at this point they're just kind of looking for who really has a desire to be in the online program for the year for next year. So that's why that question is in there.
So just a little review. Again, I'm going to tell you, step 1, talk with your current teachers, your junior high counselor, and your family about what you think the best courses are for you to take. And again, the other note about high school that's a little different than junior high is we have many sections of the same course. So if you are signing up just because a friend is signing up for a course, you're not guaranteed you're even going to be in the same class as that friend, because we do have numerous sections. So please make sure you're looking out for your best interests and you take the courses that are best for you and that you are interested in taking. Then make sure you visit our guidance website. Okay, you'll see a lot of tutorials. We've done some screencasts and you'll find a lot of more information about registration and just about high school in general. Reach out to your high school counselor if you have questions. If you go to our website and you click on the registration, the 9th grade registration information, if you'll scroll down, it'll say, how do I visit with my counselor? Our names are listed and they are underlined. If you will click on the name of your counselor, it will take you to, it's called You Can Book Me, and you can book an appointment that fits into your schedule with your counselor. So just click on the name of your counselor and that will take you to a site that will allow you to book an appointment with us. As I mentioned before, we will have this webinar listed on the website. We have the registration form. We have a video on how you go into PowerSchool and enter your registration requests. So there's just a lot of information on tutorials. And if you still have questions or you just would like to talk to your counselor, be sure to book an appointment with us. And that's what step 4 is. Make sure you complete the course registration online. You have to be on the Students PowerSchool account. And please review the screencast titled This is a breakdown on how to complete your registration online. We would like all of the registrations done by Friday, February 26th. I think now, I think we've been doing a pretty good job at answering the questions. I'm going to open it up. Counselors, if you see any questions on there we haven't covered.
And Ms. DeLeo, I'm going to take one real quick. So there are some questions about boundaries for West Side. So just because almost every student that goes to Northwest is automatically districted into West, but the school district has an open enrollment policy for both City High and West High. So what that means is there are some students who go to Northwest who are districted to go to Liberty High School. That doesn't mean that child has to go to Liberty High School. All that means is that the district will not provide transportation to West High School. So it can get a little confusing. And I see there's some questions about that in the chat. So very soon, within the next week or so, the district will notify you if you're not scheduled to go to West, and will ask you if you want to do an open enrollment or an involuntary transfer or voluntary transfer to come into West High School.
And I'm looking at a few questions. The registration is actually open right now. So your student could go on right after this webinar and check it out. So there's been a question, how do you see all of the electives of all the courses that are available to all of the students at West High, just not the 9th grade? There is a program of studies also shown on or listed on our website. So you can view the program of studies on the website, and that will give you all of the courses that are offered at West High and what grade levels they are open to. There's a question, it sounds like we register for the entire year. Yes, you do register for the entire year, but you can make changes to your schedule throughout the year for the trimester. So if you choose an elective and you decide, going into the second trimester, you would like to try another one, we will definitely look at that for you. You do have to understand, that's why we really want you to take this serious though. We do our staffing, based on the numbers we receive through registration. So we know how many sections to offer for courses. So there is a chance that an elective could fill up if you wait until next year to change, but no, changes can be made. I'm gonna look through some other.
We're happy to hang around and maybe answer any more questions that come through the Q&A. Otherwise, as counselors, we're happy to meet with you. So feel free to call us, email us, set up a time with us with You Can Book Me. We'd love to work through any specific questions you have about your child.
And real quick, the question regarding transportation, just because you received a bus to Northwest does not mean you'll get a bus to West. It's based on the distance from the school that you will be attending to your house. Yes, and the district should notify you if you qualify for a bus.
And there's there's a question about switch if they roll and take honors classes and they find that that's too intense, can they move down? And yes, there's some flexibility with that. And we always say it's easier to do that than the reverse. Say you start in geometry as an example, and want to move to geometry honors. That's a little bit different of a transition. So again, it goes back to sign in for classes the best you can to help you be successful, but there will be some flexibility if obviously we're not going to leave you in a class if it's not the right fit for you.
Yeah, and there's a question about will the current teachers be making recommendations? That is, we've been in communication with the junior high, all the junior highs actually, because we know with the online schooling that there are junior high teachers from all buildings teaching Northwest students and future West High students. And so they're all being encouraged to make some recommendations at every class in the next 2 days. In-person students, that should happen either Tuesday or Wednesday. Online students, that should happen Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday morning for their classes for sure.
In the chat, there was a question about choosing Liberty High School. So Liberty High School is closed to open enrollment. You can only go to Liberty High School if you live in the Liberty boundaries.
There's also a question about taking a class in the summer. We don't offer classes for advancement through the school district in the summer. The only courses we've ever been able to offer are courses that are for credit recovery. Having said that, there are some students who have self-studied for some things in the past.
Yeah, there's a question here about when will information about sports be given. At Northwest, I believe they'll be planning a date in March sometime where the high school coaches and the high school music conductors will come to school, and now will be a Zoom where they'll talk about what those expectations are. Most of the sports, though, especially the fall sports, will have summer expectations for athletes.
And yes, Northwest, Southeast, Liberty, or North Central, excuse me, all those teachers will be making recommendations if they see that a student is doing very well. Now, where it could get a little bit fuzzy is Southeast is typically a feeder for City High, and City High does something a little different with social studies. They offer American Studies and AP US History, whereas we offer American Studies and AP Human Geography. So just know that at West, those are the two choices that students will be deliberating between. And I think Mr. Gross can probably speak to this more because he's a former social studies teacher who was here at the time when this was discussed. But I think our social studies department felt that that was a better transition course to the world of AP than to jump right into AP US History.
No, AP Human Geography is a good, well, yeah, AP Human Geography is really the only course, I believe, that's an AP option for freshmen. It's a good one because it's a semester of a college course that is stretched out over an entire academic year at the high school. So it's a very good, as Mr. Yoder said, introduction to the AP type of work.
And then, okay, we've had quite a few questions on so far, and thank you all for attending this evening. We appreciate your time. We will, once we're back in the building, we'll hopefully convert this recording to this webinar to a recording, and then post a YouTube, and then we'll also have Northwest send it out on our behalf. So thank you all for attending this evening, and stay warm, and we look forward to working with you next year.